welcome to this YouTube Live with Toto Wolff and me. We are at the halfway point of the season, so we thought it'd be a good time to do a bit of a hashtag Ask Toto. How are you, first of all, Toto?
Wonderful sunny day in the UK.
You couldn't ask for more, really, could you?
No, it's very rare these days, so we're enjoying ourselves.
So a first question to kick things off from me. Halfway through the season, how do you rate the team's performance so far?
Overall good. We've had a bit of a bumpy start. Testing didn't go as expected, and then the first couple of races were so-so. We didn't quite find the setup window that functioned in the right way on the car, but slowly we got there. We had a bit of a terrible weekend in Monaco, but it gave us good direction. So sometimes these bad moments help you in the long run, and it did, and since then we were doing okay.
And so going into the summer break off the back of Hungary, obviously still one race to go. So close in the Drivers' Championship, 1 point between Lewis and Sebastian. A little bit more of a lead for you over Ferrari and the Constructors, but how important is it for the team to go into the summer break leading both the Constructors and Drivers, mentally?
I don't think it's important, for me at least, not, because we are just halfway through the season, and it's not important whether you are half-time champion or not. It's important to just add weekend to weekend and do a good job. And of course, we had a bit of a buffer in the Constructor Championship, but equally on Driver Championship we are 1 point behind. So it makes no sense to look at the point at that stage. We can do the 3 races to the end or 4 races to the end, and until then we just keep pushing.
Keep pushing indeed. Now, I know all of you have been submitting questions, and Toto is ready to answer them, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So let's kick it off. Perry Brown has been in touch on Facebook saying, how will you base the decision to shift design focus on developing the 2018 car? And presumably, he says, work is already well underway. How do you manage that?
That's a very good question, actually, because in times where regulations are stable, like from 2017 to 2018, you can delay the development of next year's car a little bit, but not a lot. And what we do is every single week we evaluate where we are in the current championship and what kind of design direction we think the next year's car is going to go. And of course, if you change your concept massively, that means next year's car is not going to be the evolution of the current car, but a completely new radical development. That is a question you need to answer yourself. And if the answer is yes, you need to start early. So we are still on the way for 17. We've obviously looked at 18, but all still up to the plan.
Great question. Thank you very much, Perry. Thank you very much for your question. Let's have a look. There's lots of comments coming in. If you're watching and you want to ask a question, don't shy away. Please do post one. So we've got this. Francesco Lorenzi on Facebook. After Nico retired and Paddy left, so much changed in the team structure. How did the whole team react and still manage to remain so competitive? Yeah, how do you manage that sort of internal change?
Change happens. It needs to happen. A racing team like Mercedes is not a static organization. You cannot just freeze it and say, everybody maintain position, we are successful, we don't want anybody to change the job. It doesn't go, because there's very good young talent coming up that obviously wants to progress in their career. And you have new challenges, new regulations, the odd inefficiency you need to tackle, and therefore this is a constant process. And like Darwin says, the species that is most adaptable is going to survive, and this is a species. The team is a species that is changing all the time.
Great, fantastic. Thank you very much. So let's think about the season again. James Miraliotta has asked on Twitter, what driver, or which driver or team has surprised you the most so far this season? Because I guess you do have a little look at what's going on in the other teams. You're not just focused on Lewis and Valtteri. Anyone who's caught your eye?
Well, many teams have surprised me. I was very surprised by Ferrari coming strong, and all credit to them. They did a really good job over the winter. I was surprised that the chassis on Red Bull side was not where everybody expected it to be. I'm happy to see Force India perform like they do. It's a pleasure to watch these 2 guys in the cars fight it out. And the occasional highlight from Haas is also nice to see.
How would you be managing those Force India boys? Because obviously you know Esteban Ocon very well. What would you be doing if you were Vijay Mallya this season? Apart from probably trying not to look every time they come so close to each other.
Well, like I know Esteban, of course, but they are very senior. Vijay knows his way around Formula 1. and Ottomar in the same way, and Bob. So I don't need to give them any tips. It's just important to contain a situation. There's obviously a rivalry cooking, and it's very much about Esteban showing that he's capable of matching Checo, and Checo will not leave it easy. So I think it just needs talking.
Very good, very good. Dominica on Twitter has asked a question about Robert Kubica, and of course there's lots of talk about Robert Kubica potentially joining Renault, even as soon as potentially Hungary. So would you consider taking Robert Kubica to your team if you had a free place? Do you know Robert?
I know Robert very well. I know him since 2002, since the Formula 1.
And I suppose you speak Polish, do you?
Speak Polish.
Exactly.
I actually had a funny moment with him because I was doing the Mille Miglia with Aldo a couple of weeks ago, and we were stopping in a village just before the Apennines, the Italian mountains, and there was lots of people that were asking for selfies, and one guy was saying, please a selfie, and I look up and it's Robert.
Did you give him one?
No, of course not, but I said, Robert, what are you doing here? And then we disappeared into a coffee shop, and I was so happy to see him because he's fit and he's in good spirits, which is nice. And I think he found his way around in coping with the hand that is not functioning as well. And as much as I hear is that the tests are running very well, and I would really enjoy seeing him back in Formula 1. He deserves that. He's one of the talents that wasn't able to show what he could do. He had one race win, but he was just coming up and had that freak accident in running.
Absolutely, I know a lot of the drivers are eager to see him back on the grid, so we'll have to watch this space. Thank you very much, great question. We might be getting a little ahead of ourselves here, but Raphael Kung Fu Panda has been in touch on YouTube. A question for the boss, he says. With Ferrari's double tyre punches past race and declining pace both in race and quali, debatable, do you think Mercedes is en route to another Constructors' title? And as you said, halfway point doesn't necessarily mean all the way to the end, but what are your thoughts so far?
Kung Fu Panda.
What a name, I love that.
Good name, yeah. It's too early. We have had some really good weekends most recently, but Budapest is going to be a completely new circuit layout, slow speed, very hot apparently, and we need to see how we do there. And as much as I said before, I'm not looking at the points, I would just like to see another track layout and how we cope with the car, and then one weekend after the other.
Perfect, okay. Well, another question now from Frederick Padula. How do you compare Rosberg to Bottas? I know it's probably impossible, but what are the differences? How do they work for you?
Very different personalities, and I enjoyed working with Nico. Nico is a challenging personality that has made his way all the way to the top, and sometimes you say it was easier for him, but I think actually it was very difficult for him, because if you're the son of a world champion and you need to find the energy and motivation within yourself, I don't think that is very easy. But he made it, he achieved his lifelong dream and decided to call it a day, which somehow is inspirational, because we're all in that hamster wheel, and he is one that had actually decided to jump out of it. Walter is very different. Walter is just interested in the racing. He has a stable family life, wonderful wife, and needs his surrounding, has auntie, his physio that looks after him, and there's just no politics and no war outside.
He's very straightforward, I always feel. You know, he's himself always. There's nothing to hide or anything.
Yes, absolutely.
And have you been not surprised, because obviously you signed him with reason, but how quickly he fitted in and how he's taken to it, like a bit like a duck to water, I would say.
I'm not surprised, because I've known him for a long time, and I knew that he wanted, his dream was to be in a car that is competitive and that makes him win races. And once the deal was done, I think this is just what he wanted, and he got his head down and just keeps out working flat out with his team of engineers and the factory, and he's doing a very good job.
Fantastic. Well, the news has broken this week, of course, about the Halo coming in. So Panos Rappi on YouTube, thank you so much for your question. Hey Toto, say your opinion for Halo. What is your opinion on Halo?
I think that probably the FIA had no choice than to introduce the Halo. It is the mandate of the FIA to increase the safety, and we have looked at various systems. None of them really worked, and the Halo was the only one that was just about right. I don't like the looks of it and the aesthetics, But the decision was made yesterday, and now we have to just make the best out of it.
Absolutely, I can see it fitting into the livery beautifully, don't you worry. Number one has asked on YouTube, will you ask Valtteri to hold back to let Lewis win the World Championship even if Valtteri is in contention? Team orders, what's the situation there?
The answer is no. If both of them are in contention for the World Championship, we will not interfere, that's very clear. There could be a situation that if we come to the end of the championship and mathematically one could still win the championship if he were to win all races and neither Sebastian nor Lewis would score any points, then obviously that doesn't count. But until then, until both of them are capable of winning the championship, I'd like to see them race, and I think we owe it to them.
Fantastic, we do want to see more racing. So I've got a question, which race are you most looking forward to for the second half of the season? Which one gets you going?
I like Budapest a lot because I like the city.
Well, that's lucky, that's next up.
It's buzzing. And somehow there is no race that I really dislike. Each of the circuits has its characteristics, and I enjoy the traveling, and so I'm looking forward to each of them.
And next year, obviously a bit of an extra couple of races. Are you excited to see Germany back on the calendar and France as well?
I think it's good that we are going back to Germany. It's our home race, and lots of our staff are there and fans, and coming back to France is good as well. Paul Ricard is a great circuit, and insofar I think the calendar is good, the calendar is challenging, but all we do is probably a challenge.
Everything is a challenge. Well, thank you so much. It's been a challenge getting through all your questions because there have been so many. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Toto, thank you very much. An exciting season, I think you'll agree. 1 point in it in the drivers, a little bit more in the constructors. I wonder who will be leading as we go into the summer break. Toto, enjoy it, and enjoy Hungary as well.